All right, what is up, folks? So yeah, this is the long-promised full-length monologue. Yeah, it's not going to be an interview. It's just me. Empty room right now, as you guys can see. Very important. Something I want you guys to keep in mind. Okay, I don't have notes. I don't have teleprompter. There's no preparation going into this. Okay, everything I'm telling you guys, it's all inside of here. Having knowledge is very, very important. And yes, I did give you guys a trigger warning in the video leading up to this. I'll be covering a lot of points, and a lot of you guys are not going to like it because the reason why so many men nowadays, because like I said, 88% of my audience is men. So the number one age group is 25 to 34. After that, it's 35 to 44 and 18 to 24. So those are pretty even. So there are lots of very, very young men who have been regular viewers of this channel as well. So the reason why it doesn't matter, if you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Indian, the reason why so many of you guys are failing is because you cannot handle the truth. First of all, I will address this point as well later in the video. A lot of people will talk about, it's actually all the Jews, it's all Zionism. What a load of garbage, man. I will come back to Israel a little bit later for this video. Before I talk more about my family, I want to talk about ChatGPT. This is a huge crisis because, I would say I'm the 1% exception. 99% of students nowadays, probably starting middle school, possibly earlier, high school, college, university, grad school, law school. They cannot survive without ChatGPT. And so who's behind ChatGPT? Who's behind OpenAI? Sam Altman. Sam Altman. Well, I say that he's religiously Jewish. A lot of people say, he's actually ethnically Jewish. All of that aside, it is confirmed. Sam Altman, he's a Jew. So, a lot of you guys say that, you're against Zionism. So why are you guys all worshiping ChatGPT like it's your God? Because you guys do realize this is actually a new religion. And I said this in previous videos. If you don't believe in God, you don't believe in nothing. If you don't believe in God, you believe in anything. In this case, Sam Altman. Because, think about what happened way back in the day when young people, just people of any age, man and woman, when they're struggling. Especially, let's say, if you're a Chinese person, you probably visit a temple, you burn some incense, and you ask your God, which is Shangdi. And you ask, Shangdi, I'm seeking for guidance. I don't know what to do about my marriage, my life going forward. I'm just really, really struggling. Nowadays, when young people, when they're struggling, they say that, oh my God, I don't know how I can write this essay. I don't know how I can do this presentation. So I'm supposed to do, this project on the Holodomor, which was orchestrated in Ukraine by Stalin. But I don't know anything on it. And, the next thing you know, they turn on ChatGPT. They try to look for the answer. A new religion's being born right before our eyes. And this is very, very dangerous. Stephen Hawking actually predicted all of this. I do honestly believe that Stephen Hawking is one of the smartest human beings that has ever been born on this planet. His knowledge is so vast and so incredible. My favorite piece of Stephen Hawking's work is probably the Hawking radiation. Absolutely incredible. But yeah, this is what I mean. And like nowadays, I see a lot of guys, either if they, for example, if they're going through a situation, if they really, really like this girl, but actually this girl is not interested and she's seeing this other guy, and this guy really, really wants to win this girl over, he will literally turn on ChatGPT. He'll ask, okay, what should I do? So yeah, this is a new religion. And a lot of you guys say, Zionism is the problem. But you're worshiping Sam Altman like he's some kind of god. And it's not just Western youths, right? I'm talking about black men, Asian men, Chinese men. When I say Chinese people, well, in China, they have a different AI. It's DeepSeek. But, certainly the westernized Chinese men, the ones who are living in the West, the ones who are international students going to universities, almost all of them are using ChatGPT now. And Sam Altman's already announced, right? OpenAI is going to be used to create adult-only contents. And if you think right now what you guys are seeing is bad on the internet about Lana Rose and Riley Reid or all these other actresses, just wait until you see what OpenAI can do. So this is very, very dangerous stuff. And it's so important to seek the truth. So I'll use this quote. Right? So if you search for truth, you might just be able to find it in the end. I'm not saying that it is guaranteed, but you just might, if you do choose to search for the truth. However, if you seek comfort, well, which is, the comfort of ChatGPT. You think that this magical open AI thing can just solve your entire life's problems. Well, if you choose to seek comfort, you'll end up with either truth or comfort. Instead, in the beginning, you will have some soft soap and some wishful thinking. But in the end, it's going to leave you with absolutely nothing. Nothing is because you don't have anything up here. There's no knowledge, there's no information. You don't have the ability to articulate. You can't live without ChatGPT. You cannot survive without your smartphone. So at the end, it's just going to be a complete void. There's going to be no truth. There's going to be no comfort. There's going to be no soft soap or wishful thinking. Just your empty brain and a bunch of wishful delusional thinking. So yeah, I warned you guys, this thing is very, very dangerous. Moving past that part, I'll come back to Sam Altman. And yeah, if you guys actually do the research on Sam Altman, I mean, the allegations against this guy is absolutely outrageous. One after another, after another, after another. And I can tell you guys right now, the whistleblower for OpenAI, 26-year-old Suchir Balaji, he did not kill himself. I think Sam Altman knows exactly what happened to him. You guys are still thinking about, using ChatGPT or OpenAI. Yeah, look at what happened to Suchir Balaji. It's time for you guys to pivot away from OpenAI. This is actually a very, very demonic. A new religion's being born, and not a good one. Now, I was getting a lot of heat for my video where I talked about think marriage. So dual income, no kids, or dual income, no children. A lot of people saying that, couples who choose to not have children and instead they're raising dogs or cats, saying that's demonic. I'm actually the demonic person. Well, I want you guys to remember this point. So I will come back to Sam Altman and OpenAI. So the 4 pillars of destruction for humanity. So right now, I think we're already getting there. So remember, the first pillar, okay, towards the destruction of humanity. So just think about the 4 pillars. This is like a temple. And when all 4 pillars fall, the temple falls. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of humanity. So the first pillar is secularism. You abandon your God. Once again, right? A lot of people say, oh, I'm just 100% secular. I'm atheist. There's no such thing as a true atheist. Once again, right, a lot of people say they don't believe in anything. They don't believe in Christianity. They don't believe in Judaism. They don't believe in Buddhism. But for some reason, you choose to believe in Sam Altman. So yeah, ChatGPT is your religion. You will always believe in something. So you abandon your God. That's secularism. That's the first pillar. What is the second pillar? Well, second pillar is that you abandon marriage and children, the concept of nuclear family, a concept that we're seeing just way too often worldwide. Certainly in our developed world, maybe not so much in the Muslim world, but I'm talking about collectively in all of Europe, in North America, Australia, New Zealand, certainly in the developed part of Asia, China, South Korea, Japan, Singapore, Taiwan, and I also mentioned yes, it's time for Taiwan to come back and unify with China. I can cover that more later on. So our world is becoming increasingly secular every single day. And this is what happens when you abandon your God. You stop believing in marriage. You stop believing in children. And that's true. A lot of you guys might disagree with me. But yeah, when marriages stop, when divorce rates skyrocket like this, when birth rates go down like this, that means that the civilization is going to end. So that's the second pillar. The third pillar, okay? The third pillar is that you abandon your traditional gender roles. Yeah, so nowadays we call this the trans movement, right? The 2S, LGBT, QAnon. That's essentially what it is. A man can become a woman can become a man, right? If I feel like it, I can identify as non-binary. I can identify as a woman. I can identify as a transvestite. I can identify as a queer. So yeah, that's what happens once again. All of these people who are part of this, the LGBTQAnon movement, if that's what you want to call it, yeah, none of them believe in God. They're all 100% secular. And of course, none of them believe in marriage. And once again, you can look this up, right? Throughout human history, modern humans has been around for something like 200,000 years. If you believe in evolution, we actually all started migrating from East Africa, modern day Ethiopia. So the capital of Ethiopia is Addis Ababa. It actually translates to a new flower. So yeah, you can say this is the new flower movement to eventually, conquering the entire planet. So yeah, in 200,000 years of modern humans, gay marriage has never ever been recognized. Okay, I'm not saying that there wasn't gay people. It has been plenty of gay people throughout history. There's been plenty of lesbianness throughout history. But yeah, they can do their own thing. So yeah, in any civilization, the first country that recognized gay marriage in the history of humanity is the Netherlands in 2001. And in 2005, Canada legalized same-sex marriage. And then the parts of the United States, eventually it was 2015, it was Barack Obama. He was the one who legalized the same-sex marriage across all 50 US states. So you're dealing with something that is a brand new concept, and this is actually a very, very dangerous concept. Once again, I have nothing against gays or lesbians, and as a matter of fact, I think if you're an adult, if you're a 25-year-old dude and you decided that, you know what, I want to cut my balls off, I want to become a trans woman, go ahead. Why do I care? I have 99 problems in my life. If some 30-year-old dude wants to cut their balls off, why should that bother me? But I'm just saying that all of these things should not be recognized in the court of law. And also feminism, basically this whole trans movement where man can become a woman. It's the feminism coming full circle because, according to the modern feminist movement, once again, I'm not against the original feminist movement, right? I think women should absolutely have the right to vote. I think women should absolutely have the right to file for divorce. I think women should absolutely have the right, to go into any field that they want to work in. Yes, and of course, but modern day feminism, right? I'm talking about female sexual liberation, OnlyFans, Lily Phillips, Bonnie Blue. That is not feminism. This is very, very demonic stuff. So in fact, Lily Phillips, right? I didn't know she was an Arsenal fan because she loves doing this celebration, right? The Victor Gyökeres celebration in so many of her scenes. So she must be a big Arsenal fan. Yeah, so yeah, feminism tells you that, women can be equal to men, but the thing is, women can never be equal to men. So, for example, how the hell can I give birth? How the hell can I menstruate? And the vice versa is true. A woman will never know or understand, what it feels like for a man to be kicked at full force in the nuts. Yeah, it's happened to me before, so a lot of women say giving birth is so painful, but if it is actually so bad, why do you see a woman that chooses to have a second, third, or fourth child? I've never seen any man that has been kicked in the nuts at full force saying that actually I want to do that all over again. So yeah, getting kicked in the nuts aside, so that's the third pillar you have to remember. And in fact, in Taoism ideology, so if you're wondering how did the Chinese history start, the oldest religion in China is not Buddhism. It started with Taoism, and you can look up Taoism, like the Tai Chi thing, the circle. Sorry, so there's the dark side and there's the white side. So according to Taoism, man and woman are complete opposites. I'm sorry to say I'm not trying to trigger the woman, but that was actually how it was taught. It was taught to me in the Chinese school system as well. I don't know if they still teach it. They probably do. Basically, men represent the light side and women, they represent the darkness. I'm sorry to say. So, and it is a biological reality that women have way more negative emotions than men. That's why in vast majority of the times, when a marriage falls apart or when a relationship falls apart, vast majority of the time, a man will fight for his marriage, he will fight for his relationship, but the woman always gives up first, almost guaranteed. Especially we're talking about just before marriage. If you're strictly talking about relationships, almost all the relationships are ended by the woman. And there are various contributing factors, but one of the top contributing factors is that women have so much more negative emotions versus men. They always think about the worst possible outcome, the worst possible scenario. So yeah, you can look up Taoism, the yin and yang. So yin, that's the darkness, that's the female side, and the men are the yang, men are the light. I did not make up this concept. It's been around for thousands of years, okay? And basically, men are all the positive energy and women are all the negative energy. And the men are the fire, women are the ice. But they're meant to complement each other if you actually look at the Taoism circle, right? So man and woman were like these pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. But unfortunately, modern feminism in 2025 has completely destroyed everything. So yeah, that's the third pillar. The fourth pillar, so that is post-humanism. That's where I talked about this. Where I talk about the divorce rate. Why is it 50%? For example, if you look at Canada, the number of children in Canada that is currently being raised by single mothers or just in a single parent household, sometimes it could be raised by a single father, is 22%. So How come if the divorce rate is 50%, the number of children being raised in a single-parent household is 22%? Should it also be 50%? See, that's where a lot of people are wrong. So in the United States, it's 37% number of children being raised in a single-parent household. But that's, the combination of all the ethnic groups. If you take out the Black Americans and the Hispanic Americans, if you look at just the whites and Asians, it's much lower. It's about 20%. So once again, right? So 50% divorce rate, but the number of children being raised in single mother homes is 20%. Why is that? So the reason why there's 50% divorce rate is because in marriages where there's children involved, the divorce rate is actually around 20%. For those of you guys who still want to look for a spouse, if you want to get married, I just want to make something clear, right? There's no such thing as a dink marriage. If you do choose to get married and if you choose to have at least one child, the possibility of a divorce is not 50%, it's 20%. You have an 80% chance of succeeding, okay? However, if you go into a dink marriage when you're purposely avoiding children and you choose to adopt a cat or a dog or guinea pig or hamster, so the possibility of divorce is 80%. I'm just telling you guys. In fact, from all the divorces I have seen, I would say it's not 80%. So the possibility of a dink marriage going to divorce, it's probably, between 95 to 100%. Sure, I mean, a lot of you guys can say, oh, actually, I'm wrong about this, I'm wrong about that, okay? Sure, I'm not the expert on every single subject. I'm certainly not the expert on Hawking radiation, right? So I don't know everything. I'm not the smartest person in the world. I certainly know that. But here's the one thing. I'm always right about every single time. So I did mention before, I mentioned all the 4 pillars, right? I'll be coming back to the story of my hometown. So I was born in northeastern China. So the city I was born is called the Jilin city. So it's like the province and the city has the same name. So if you guys are Canadians, you know there's a Quebec province and there's also a Quebec city inside of the province. So I was born not in the city. I was born about 30 minutes outside of the city. Unfortunately, if you look at the most recent numbers, yes, the divorce rate in Jilin City is 75%. 75%. 3 out of 4 marriages end in divorce. I have seen way too many divorces. I had mentioned to you guys, my mom, right? So she's in her 7th marriage right now. 7th. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a world record. I tried to look up, some of these celebrities because we know how often celebrities get divorced. The most I can find is Jennifer Lopez. She's been engaged 6 times, and she's been married 4 times, and she's been divorced 4 times. And I don't think I can find anybody that's higher than Jennifer Lopez. My mom probably has the unofficial world record for the most divorces in the world. So yeah, my mom has 7, and my sister has 4. At least 3, possibly 4, my older half-sister. So yeah, everybody, over 90%, certainly. I wouldn't say everybody. So, but the worst rate in my family is probably something like 93%. And the remaining 7% that's still married, they're absolutely miserable. They all hate each other. And if you guys want to ask me how this happened exactly, it's not just any one particular factor. It's a combination of so many things. So yeah, and like I said about this whole dog thing, I have a question to ask you guys. I think this will be very, very interesting. You guys should ask this question to every single person you know in your life, especially to all the women. I want you guys to ask this question to all the women you know in your life. So yeah, ask the man in your life and the woman in your life this question. So let's say if you're just out for a morning or evening stroll at the park, and you saw a dog. You don't know this dog, just some random strange dog that is drowning by the lake at the park where you're going for a morning walk or a stroll or run or in the evening. And at the same time, not too far away from this dog, you see another man. Once again, this is a stranger. You don't know anything about this guy. They're both drowning at the same time. They don't know how to swim, but you're an expert swimmer. But even at your elite level, let's say even if you are Michael Phelps or Katie Ledecky, so out of this man, dog, you can only choose one. You can only save one, okay? Once again, this is why I talk about post-humanism. That's the final pillar. So I can guarantee you guys this. This is the response you will get. If you ask 100 random men, I would say at least 95% of the time, probably between 95 to 97% of the time, if you ask these men, you can only save another stranger, another human being, another man that's drowning. And if you ask these guys, or would you rather save this dog? 95 to 97% of the time, these men, they will save another human being. They will choose to save another man, okay? But if you ask 100 random women this question, right? So these women, they can either save the man that's drowning, that's a stranger to them, or if they will save the dog that's drowning. But by the way, they don't know this dog, right? This is just a random strange dog that's also drowning at the same time. Here's what will happen, okay? I can guarantee you guys this. Yeah, I think there should be more surveys down on this question. So yeah, out of the 100 women, I would say 1/3, 33 women will say that they will choose to save the man that's drowning and they will let the dog die. Another third, another 33 women, they will choose the dog instead of saving the man because they believe that the dog has more intrinsic value versus another human being. Another 1/3, so the remaining 33 or 34 out of the 100 random women that's being surveyed, they cannot make up their mind. And if they do, by the time they do make up their mind, well, both the dog and the man is already gone. Okay, I'm serious. This is a very important question to ask. In fact, this is probably a liberal white woman's worst nightmare. Almost every single liberal white woman, if you ask them this question, they're probably all going to save the dog. But what if instead of a stranger male with unknown age, unknown ethnic background, unknown religion, what if you told them that this man was drowning at the same time beside this dog? What if this time this is a gay black man that's drowning? So yeah, ask these liberal white women this question. Would you rather save a gay black man that's drowning at the lake, or would you rather save a dog? So yeah, they would probably go berserk. They will absolutely lose their mind. And that's why I said the dink marriage is actually very dangerous and it's borderline demonic. It's because, well, I'm just telling you guys, fellas, so vast majority of the time, right, when the marriage goes south, a man will fight for it, but the vast majority of the time it's the woman that files for divorce. If you do go into a childless marriage, and it's very interesting because I saw so many Chinese people doing this. This is why I said in a 28-minute video that I uploaded roughly a month ago, right? I said white worshipping has destroyed Asians because they're embracing the same concept as these, European white people. So it's been around, so dink culture has been normalized by white people since the 1960s. But now 50, 60 years later, a lot of Asians, a lot of Chinese, Japanese, and South Koreans, they have adopted this exact same concept. Kids. So if you don't want to have kids, first of all, why do you get married? Also, okay, if you got married, you don't want to have kids, whatever, all good. They always adopt a dog, okay? In China, most cases, I would say it's a dog, sometimes a cat. And what do these guys and these women, what do they always say? Oh, I'm a cat parent. I'm a dog parent. Listen, a human being has more intrinsic value than a dog. As a matter of fact, a human being has more intrinsic value versus any other animal. A lot of you guys might get triggered, but that is the law of nature, and it must always be the case. You cannot treat a cat or a dog as a human being. And if you do that, if you choose to purposely avoid children, instead if you choose to raise a cat or a dog, at some point your girl is going to walk away. She might not file for divorce now, but I can guarantee you guys, okay, 2 years from now, 4 years from now, 8 years from now, 12 years from now, at some point she will leave you because she's going to love that animal more than she loves you. That is 100% guaranteed. Once again, my hometown has 75% divorce rate. 95% of my family has been divorced 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. My aunts, my cousins, my uncles, right, my siblings, just my mom's friends, the people that she hangs out with, the customers at my sister's restaurant, the people they play cards with, the people they play mahjong with. Everybody I have seen, I have personally, I pray to God, even not to my worst enemies. I hope nobody has to go through something like this. I have seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of divorces. I'm just telling you guys, if you get married, you must have a child. If you choose to become dink parents and adopt a dog or a cat, I can guarantee you guys, you will be divorced. And it's guaranteed that, yes, you might stay and fight for your marriage, but your girl is going to leave you. I have never ever been wrong about this, okay? In the cases I have been wrong, yes, there has been cases, for example, I saw a young loving couple. I thought they were a match made in heaven. They were perfect for each other. I thought they were going to be happily married after, all the way until the end. Then I find out, 3 years later, they're divorced. Yes, there has been those cases where I've been wrong, but if I tell a couple, if I tell you you're going to be divorced, you're 100% guaranteed to be divorced, okay? Don't tell me that I did not warn you guys. Yeah, I want you guys to also think about it like this. Why do I say it's demonic? I'm not saying that having a guinea pig or a cat or a dog is not okay, but the child has to come first. And if you decide to only have one child, if you think that, raising children is so expensive, the best you can manage is one, and then you want a puppy for your daughter or son to play with, 100% okay. But here's the thing, right? So you're married. I'm assuming that, almost all married couples, they will consummate their marriage on their wedding night, right? So you're purposely avoiding impregnating your wife by using condoms, by using birth control, by using Plan B, and possibly abortion, just so that you can go to the adoption shelter and get a cat or a dog. You don't think that's demonic? And a lot of people, especially white people, they get so mad when I say this. Well, I tell them, you keep saying that the white population is disappearing, right? Why are all of you guys allergic to having children? Because you guys started this think movement. All of this was possible because of the invention of birth control. Oh, and please stop with this BS talk. Oh, it was the Jews, it's Zionism. Okay, the person behind the original birth control movement, before Planned Parenthood became Planned Parenthood, okay, it was two women. It was Margaret Sanger. Margaret Sanger is white Irish. So quit with this victim blaming, quit with this victim mindset, okay? And the person that founded her research was another white woman, Catherine D. McCormick. Do I think they're absolutely evil? Not 100%. I don't think they could have predicted, many decades down the road, it will have such a drastic change on humanity. It's causing the population collapse in so many countries. Because none of these will be possible without the Innovid, without these birth control pills, without condoms, without Plan B, without abortion. So many couples, especially white couples, now Asian couples, they have copied this concept. They're doing everything they can to purposely avoid children because when you consummate your marriage, it's supposed to result in your offspring. And when you're doing everything you can to eliminate your future offspring so that you can raise a dog, you don't think that's demonic? To these people who are raising cats and dogs, why do they always say, I'm a cat mom? Why do they say, oh, I'm a dog mom? And to the people saying that, it is actually just too expensive to raise a child. Well, the average Hispanic American, also the average Black American, has way less wealth versus the average white American. But the reality is that the average white American has the lowest birth rate. And also, if you guys want to talk about the rising cost of living, so my most recent trip back to China, I was there from November of 2024 to earlier this year to April of 2025. I was absolutely shocked and disgusted. Think about what these young men are doing. They get married, right? Living a great life. And they're doing everything they can to avoid a offspring so that they can raise a dog or a cat. Just think about how many men worldwide. I want to make something clear. I can understand. So I've been talking about just be white woman or just be white man. Sure, okay, I agree. A lot of white men are incels as well. But, okay, it's completely different. If you're some random dude, a white or Asian guy or black guy, if you're just really short, if you're just really ugly, you have gout, body odor, male pattern baldness, missing teeth, and you cannot get a girl, you're an incel. And obviously, you cannot even get a date or a girlfriend. How can you have a kid? Okay, I can understand the struggle. You did not win the genetic lottery. I'm talking about people who are top tier men, top 10%, top 5%, top 1%. You found a girl of your dreams and you got married, right? You got on your knees. You bought this $10,000 ring. You proposed to her. And, you are so lucky to have the woman of your dreams in your life. Yet you're doing everything you can to avoid children. You don't think that's demonic? That is the definition of gluttony. Because what the hell are you doing? Do you guys realize that hundreds and millions of men worldwide would do everything they can? They're willing to probably cut their lifespan by half. They're willing to work themselves to death. They're willing to swim in a sea of fire. They're willing to climb a mountain made of knives just to, find the woman of their dreams, just to get married, just so that they can continue their legacy. But to the ones who are lucky enough to marry the woman of their dreams, they're doing everything they can to avoid children. Yeah, that is 100% demonic. And that's why I talk about secularism. It's so dangerous. To all the people who are doing this think movement, right? They get married and they choose to adopt a cat or a dog. This is 100% the result of secularism. And you want to talk about why everything has been getting worse. Well, back in 1960, okay, America was a 88% white Christian country. And if you look at Canada in 1960, Canada was 98% white Christian. Today, in 2025, the number of white Christians in both Canada and America is less than 30%. There's no clear majority in any Western country because, so many white people, they have abandoned their traditional Christianity values. By the way, I want to make something clear. I don't believe in Judeo-Christian values. I think that is a scam. I'm talking about whether if you're an evangelical Christian, or if you're a Catholic, or if you're a Orthodox Christian. So I would say at least 50% of the white population living in Europe and North America, they're all secular now. This is all the result of secularism. And you guys want to talk about the white population collapse. So many white couple, the ones who are lucky enough to find the woman of their dreams, they're doing everything they can to avoid having children. Let's bring the topic back to China. The reason why I returned to China on my previous trip is because I wanted to see more extended members of my family. I always knew my family in the Northeast, I always knew that they were absolutely insane. I didn't mention this before. A quick recap. My grandfather, he's not from the Northeast. My maternal grandfather from my mom's side, he actually fought in the Korean War from 1950 to 1953. He was underage at the time, and so he was being used as a messenger. He was actually hit in the leg with a stray bullet. So when the war ended in 1953, he was stationed at the China-North Korea border, and that's where my maternal grandmother was born. That's how they met. My grandfather, he's from the rural Sichuan province. So I really wanted to visit the Sichuan province in southern China. I wanted to see what the other half of my family was like. I don't know. It's just my family is 100% cursed because I did mention before. So in northeastern China, the average divorce rate, so in the Heilongjiang province, in the Jilin province, and in the Liaoning province, those three provinces combined, the average divorce rate is 70%. It's the highest in China. So my grandfather, he was stationed at the China-North Korean border. He was an army commander. In the city that he lived in at the time, there was about 450,000 people, and he was the richest guy in that county because, he was a commander of the Cannon Division in the army. He was a war hero, so he was, the top G. Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, all that kind of stuff. Then, my grandmother, she went actually against her arranged marriage. She was supposed to marry some average Chinese Joe, but instead, she wanted the richest guy. She became a gold digger. So Candace Owens style, right? That's how Candace Owens got married to her current husband, George Farmer. Things are looking pretty peaceful at the border. So my grandfather, his duty as the army commander ended. He decided to move back to the Sichuan province, tried to start many businesses there. It was because the rampant fighting in my family between my grandfather and grandmother. They were fighting, bitching, arguing every single day. They had so much money at the time, generational wealth. They pissed it all away. And that's why I said it's so important to have a nuclear family, right? I said that, quote, 家和万事兴. So when there's peace in your family, 10,000 things in your life will be glorious. Imagine a customer that walks into a restaurant and they hear that, plates are being smashed. They hear saucepan being tossed around. They hear fighting. They hear bitching. They hear arguing. They hear that punches are being thrown around, and do you think they're going to come back? That's how my grandfather lost all his money because my grandmother would just not stop fighting and arguing with him every single day. They had so many businesses because at the time my grandfather had so much money. We're talking about clothing stores, vegetable shops, butcher shops, restaurants. They tried every single business, but every single one went bankrupt because every single day when the customers walked into these shops, they just heard my grandfather and my grandmother arguing. I didn't realize it was so bad at one time. So this would have been my grandfather's cousin. The fighting got so bad. I don't know what happened. I guess they partnered up to do a business. Then the business went bankrupt, and they was dealing with the splitting of assets. It was a huge case at the time. It went to the court. My grandmother, she actually hired a bunch of, I don't know if she hired them, just people that she knew. She bought a bunch of, these weapons, just knives, rakes, the things that you see on typical farms, right? All these equipments, chainsaws, whatever. She actually, at one point, I was told, I thought they were kidding. She used like a rake and she pinned my grandfather's younger cousin. It was like his fourth cousin or something to the ground. With a rake, and she held a knife right to his head. She nearly killed him because of the lawsuit. So that's the kind of family I'm dealing with. And I'm sorry to say, you guys have to believe in this, what do you call it? Insane warrior genetics, because my mom, she turned out the exact same way as my grandmother. That's why she's about to be divorced for the fourth time. My older half sister turned out exactly like my mom. And my older half sister's daughter, that would be my younger niece, she's only 13 years old right now. Yeah, she turned out exactly like my older half sister and like my mom and like my grandmother. That's why all of them are divorced. Like my 13-year-old niece, man, she's absolutely vicious. Like when I was going back to visiting her, she tried to physically assault me. Yeah, a 13-year-old Chinese girl. She was already like, yeah. So, and there are a lot of reasons for this. So here's something I want to tell you guys. Okay, this is very, very important, especially if you're 12% of the audience that are women, especially if you're a young woman. You want to get married, you want to have children, and obviously I've covered this in the past. Avoid the birth control pill. It will completely mess up your hormones. It will completely mess up your menstrual cycle. It will mess up with your serotonin. It will mess up with basically everything. And also, listen, avoid all forms of medication, right? As many medications as possible. Unless you absolutely have to take it, then okay. But for example, the antidepressants pill, okay, that is a scam. A lot of people from Big Pharma are going to be very angry. So here's what I think has happened. A lot of cases, I'm not talking about, before it gets to marriage, right? And it's not just happening in the West. There's a lot of Chinese women as well, right? That's why a lot of these Chinese, especially young men, they're laying flat at home because they're living a perfect life, just fine. Maybe not everything is going great. They work hard, they have a little bit of money, and they're living a peaceful life. And same thing, a lot of the young Chinese women, they're working very, very hard as well, 60, 70, 75 hours a week. They're living a nice, peaceful life. And then their parents thought, okay, you're single. Why don't you guys just start dating? Then as soon as they start dating, they're fighting and bitching, arguing every single day. And 3 months later, they're broken up. And a lot of these young Chinese couples, they end up with a post-traumatic stress disorder. I guess they used to just call it a shell shock after World War II. And later that term became very, very fancy. I did mention this. You guys can look up Pew Research and the American Family Survey. So right now, it's an insane number. 56% of white liberal women, okay, currently living in America, has been medically diagnosed with some kind of mental health condition. The reason why it is so high is because these women, they're searching for that diagnosis. And it's like they're trying to affirm something. It's like, oh, thank you to the doctor. Thank you to my therapist. Thank you to my psychiatrist. I always knew something wrong. It was a chemical imbalance. Listen, okay, it's not chemical imbalance. It's all in your head. You have to stop taking these medications. I know this because my mom, okay, she has been on antidepressants, not always, on and off, ever since the late 1980s. My sister has been on antidepressants, like on and off, not always. My aunt's stepmom, every single female member of my family at some point has been on antidepressants. So in China, there's a thing called the clinical depression. In China, they call it a 忧郁症. And it's insane. I think they say something like 60% of Chinese women, they have, clinical depression now, 忧郁症. All a load of garbage. They say that to tell you that something is wrong with you so that you will pay money to Big Pharma. So you will start taking these like antidepressants. Once again, my mom has been on antidepressants on and off for almost 40 years, probably 37 years, starting in 1988, has never worked. It never ever will, okay? It is one of the greatest lies. It is one of the greatest scams ever sold. And this is the reason why so many young women are acting so crazy now. Because the vast majority of men, they will reject these prescription pills. But I've noticed all these young women, not just members of my family, and I would say it's worse for Asian women. That's why there's so many divorces in China now. And they're sold to Big Pharma, they're basically, 80% of these modern Chinese women, they're Big Pharma's bitch now. And they're told that, oh, you need to take this, you need to take this, you need to take this. And by the way, I'm not talking just about antidepressants, right? As soon as they get a little bit sick, as soon as their throat is a little bit dry, they have a little bit of cough, they start taking medications like crazy. And also, things like Prozac, even ibuprofen. So I would say any medication nowadays in 2025, it's all very, very questionable. And if there's any chemical imbalance, it's caused by all these medications. It's because, so what I've noticed with these antidepressants, after these women start taking them, Okay, maybe after you take them, it works, right? You're not really depressed anymore. But what happens is that you're completely dead from inside out. You're just like a zombie. So I see it with my mom and my sister because, they're combined for about to be 11 divorces combined. After they take these pills, and they're just like, yeah, I don't care anymore. Whatever, man. Yeah, maybe they're not depressed anymore, but certainly I can guarantee you that you will never ever feel not even 1 milligram of happiness for the rest of your life, as long as you remain on these antidepressants, okay? This is a very evil concept, and so many women are hooked onto these drugs. The vast majority of men, they do avoid it. I think part of the reason why that's why I said men have 10 times less negative emotions. It's these drugs, these pills, these women are popping. It is absolutely destroying them. And I've asked my mom a lot about this. I told her to stop taking the pills, but I think for them it's like cocaine or heroin. They cannot get off of it. Yeah, and to people asking me, they say, oh, how come the divorce rate is so high now? Well, one of the many contributing factors a lot of people don't think about, okay, outside of birth control, once again, I'm not talking about birth control or Plan B, just all these pills these women are popping, right? Because my mom, she's on currently, I don't know, at least 8 different medications because she's saying that she has this deficiency and she has this chemical imbalance, so she has to take this and this and this and this. So yeah, it turns you into a Karen, it turns you into a Keisha, okay, if you're a black woman. Or if you're a Chinese woman, the term is 母夜茶. So my mom, she refused to tell me about what happened for her first divorce. So her first marriage was actually the longest. So was from 1981 to 1989. And she was already taking pills like crazy in the mid-1980s. I know exactly why my mom ended up filing for divorce, her first marriage, even without her telling me, because she was actually at the time married to the richest guy in her age group in the county of 450,000 people. She was actually his trophy wife. I mean, she didn't have to do anything. She grew up with a silver spoon in her mouth. She never had to work until she filed for divorce for the first time. She only started working at the age of 30, believe it or not. So yeah, she was married to this super rich guy, right? Obviously, this guy, he has money, but he works very hard for it. He works very long hours. Every single day after he gets back from home, this is my mom's first husband. So with my dad, that was her second marriage. So yeah, every day when she gets back home, by the way, obviously my mom has to take care of my older sister. They had a child from her first marriage. But I mean, the guy he was super rich. They had nannies and butlers and stuff. My mom basically did nothing. She was just sitting there looking pretty all day. But as soon as the guy gets back from work, she's like, oh, I just got so much energy. Oh, I'm this high value woman. Oh, you want drama? You got it. Oh, I got something for you today. Oh, you better be ready to match my energy because I'm ready for drama. I'm ready for fight. I'm ready for argument. Let's freaking go. Oh, I've just cannot wait to explode on you. No, I'm serious. I'm surprised that her first marriage even lasted 8 years. I'm telling you, it's the medications she's taking, okay? There's no chemical imbalance in the beginning. Maybe there's now. It's because, all these medications, they're just, they're fighting against each other. They're completely messing up her hormones. They're completely messing up all kinds of, there's no balance left. It's a complete cluster. That's why so many of these women are acting so crazy all the time. Men are 10 times less likely to fall for big pharma or any kind of these medications. But these white women, especially now the Chinese women, the average Chinese woman, I'm telling you, they're probably taking 5 or 6 different medications at any given time now. It's 100% insanity. And this is the same thing if you're someone who is living in the West. Okay, if at some point you were struggling in life, you were extremely depressed, unfortunately, you got hooked onto cocaine or heroin or even meth. I pray to God that it's not fentanyl, because if you're hooked onto fentanyl, yeah, you'll be dead. There's no coming back from fentanyl. It's 100% nasty. So yeah, cocaine, heroin, even meth, you might be able to recover. But yeah, here's something you might think is controversial. You know how the Taliban, do you guys know what they do? How if someone is hooked onto cocaine or heroin or meth, okay, their recovery program is 100% faith and prayer based. Okay, you might not like it. You might not like Islam. You might not like the Taliban. I certainly have a lot of disagreements with the Taliban and their regime. But here's one thing. Yeah, you can look up their program. So if someone comes to, Taliban leader says that I'm addicted onto cocaine or meth or heroin, I cannot get off of it. Yeah, you're told to pray it away. And You know what's crazy? It works almost every single time. Once again, secularism. But what do they do in the West, right? They tell you that, oh, your therapist tells you, you got to take this drug, then this drug, then this drug, take this drug, right? Take this one in the morning, take this one midday, take this one in the evening, take this one before you go to sleep, and you got to take this pill like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, take this pill. And they put it on all kinds of medications. Basically, you're becoming a slave. You're becoming a science experiment. This is basically the next generation of MK Ultra. And I've seen so many people in Western countries, they try to go into recovery programs. They try to get off heroin, they try to get off cocaine, they try to get off of meth by taking these medications. None of them has ever worked, maybe 1 or 2% of the time. This is what I'm telling you guys. It needs to be faith and prayer based. And so Taliban side, okay, they have a lot of issues. If you're someone who is living in a Western country, you need to believe in God. You need to believe in Jesus, okay? You need to become a Christian. I'm telling you guys, secularism is very dangerous. If you want to get off of these hardcore drugs, do not take any of these prescribed medications. It has to be faith and prayer based. It's time for you to go to the church. It's time for you to find God. It is so important. Any society that becomes too secular is going to end. Now, this part, okay, if you're a white person, I'm really going to trigger you. Okay, I warned you guys at the start of this video, I'm going to talk about white culture, black culture, Asian culture, brown culture. So I moved to Canada in March of 2005. It's been over 20 years now. No, I've been back to China a few times. So I've lived in Canada probably for over 18 years, close to 19 years in total. I've spent the majority of my life here. So when I first moved to Canada, and I want to be 100% honest and transparent with you guys, right? So I did not live in Ottawa first. So the town I lived in was called Stratford, Ontario, not the one in the UK, not Stratford upon Avon. So it's about halfway between Kitchener and Waterloo, and also London. So the city of London, Ontario, is like down here, and it's like Kitchener, Waterloo, and about halfway between. So a town of 32,000 people, which I was actually adapted to it fairly quickly, other than the culture shocks, because like I said, China has a lot of people, but I was born outside of the city. I was born in a subdivision of roughly 30,000 people. So yeah, it was roughly the same population as the hometown where I was born in China. Here's this part is very important for you to hear if you're a white person. So the school I went to, it was called Stratford Central Secondary School, SCSS. The school is no longer there. It's just only grade 7 and 8 now. At the time, it was grade 7 to grade 12. And so now has been combined with another school in town because of a shrinking population, the collapsing birth rate. Now, okay, at the time, that's no longer the case. My school, I would say, was probably over 90% white. Maybe not 95%, maybe 92, 93% white, I would say. There was a few other like Asian kids and a couple black guys, couple Arab, couple Indians, but over 90% white. And this is what absolutely shocked me. You guys want to talk about, oh, you know, why the white birth rate is collapsing? Why aren't white people getting married? Why don't these white men, why don't they want these silky, smooth white women? Why don't they want to have beautiful white children? You have completely destroyed your woman. You literally your own woman into a coma because, okay, once again, China has changed a lot over the years, but even back in the early 2000s, sure, the cities, they have always been more progressive. It would be completely different, you know, if I was coming from Beijing or Shanghai or something, but I grew up in a very, very conservative small community. And you have to remember, and you know, when I was growing up, there was no smartphones or social media. I didn't even have my own computer. So yeah, this is the age before social media, before Facebook, before Snapchat, before Instagram. And I was in an ultra conservative small little town of 30,000 people. Yes, everybody in my family was divorced, but there's something seriously wrong with my bloodline. Okay, I don't know, my ancestors, they did something, they cursed my bloodline, they cursed my family. But outside of my family at the time, in the town of 30,000 people, nobody else was divorced. Yeah, nobody else. But somehow it just happened to my family. When I was growing up, okay, in China, I have never heard of hookup culture. Okay, as a matter of fact, I have never even heard of having sex before marriage. That was not a thing. And I mentioned this before in previous videos where I talk about filial piety. All right, so in China, they call this xiao, your devotion to your family. And I was always told the most important thing for you in your life is that, well, first of all, you know, they believed in monogamy. By monogamy, I don't mean one partner at a time. I mean one partner for life. So it is mandatory for both the man and woman to be virgins on their wedding day. And on the night of their wedding, that's when they consummate their marriage. And immediately after marriage, you must give your parents grandchildren. That's so we're always told that you have 3 filial pieties. You have 3 devotions to your family that you must fill out. Number 1 is getting married and having children. That was always taught to me, but in the West, I was absolutely shocked because the hookup culture, how just everything is just so sexualized, this female liberation. I'm just telling you guys, I went to a school that was probably 92 to 93% white. What these white women were doing, by the way, so I joined that school, Stratford Central Secondary School, towards the end of grade 7. But by the time I got to high school, just over a year later, by the time I got to grade 9, I was blending in fairly well. But this is what I saw, okay? I saw white people doing this. Stop complaining about white women sleeping with black men because they were doing it with white men, okay? The average white girl at my high school, by the time they graduated at the age of 17, 18, probably has already had at least 10 different guys. 10. And I'm not even talking about, blowjobs. If we're talking about how many of them had dicks in their mouth, it's probably extra 20 guys. How many of them have been to third base with another guy? Probably another 30 guys. I would say at the time there was 3 different high schools. Okay, at the time all 3 high schools were over 90% white. The demographic of Canada, all Western countries, has been changed forever. So yeah, every Friday night they will host these insane parties. So the other 2 schools, they were called the Stratford Northwestern. There was also St. Michael's Catholic School. They call themselves Catholic, but they're hardly Catholic at all. And of course, I saw these things. Never mind the parties aside. So these 3 schools, they will host these parties every single weekend, Friday or Saturday night, and even on campus, okay? Here are some terms I learned. Devil's Triangle. What do you guys think is a Devil's Triangle? That's what they were doing at these parties. I learned these things from white people. Imagine this. Yeah, 3 people. It could be 3 guys, could be 3 girls, could be 1 guy and 2 girls, could be 2 girls and 1 guy. And just imagine what they would be doing on the floor. Yeah, Devil's Triangle. Eiffel Tower. Yeah, I saw this, okay? I saw this way back when I was 14, 15, 16 years old. These white people, they were doing at these house parties. By the way, if you're wondering, yeah, how come there are no more house parties? Nobody can afford to buy a house anymore. So yeah, imagine Eiffel Tower, right? So the front and back, 1 guy here, 1 guy here, and 1 girl in the middle. So I can't really do this with my hands. Yeah, I guess like this. Yeah, 1 guy in the front, 1 guy in the back, 1 girl in the middle. Eiffel Tower, that's what they're doing. They also had terms like Eskimo brothers. Yeah, if 1 guy, let's say guy number 1, Jake, he smashed, let's say Madeline. Okay. And let's say Madeline went to another party on Saturday night and she got smashed by Scott. Jake and Scott, they're Eskimo brothers. And in the cases, if it's a threesome, if Jake, Madeline, and Scott, they were doing it together, if they were in Devil's Triangle or Eiffel Tower, then Jake and Scott, they're Eskimo twins. I saw all of this, okay? At these off-campus house parties, women getting blackout drunk, smoking weed, doing cocaine, doing meth, doing heroin, popping mollies, roofies, prison wallet. Okay, that's the one that you shove up your sphincter. Yes, that's a real thing. Okay. The amount of drugs and narcotics absolutely shocked me. I did mention before, in China, yes, a lot of people smoke cigarettes, okay, but there's zero drugs. Absolutely 0. There's no cocaine, there's no heroin, there's no meth, there's no fentanyl, there's absolutely nothing, not even 1 milligram of weed, because in China, they kill you. It comes with the death penalty. But look at the amount of drugs and narcotics in these Western countries. And once again, I want to make something clear. Stop blaming other people. You did this, okay? The parties I went to at, Stratford Central High School, Stratford Northwestern High School, Stratford St. Michael's Catholic School, over 90% of the people who were doing this were white people. They will literally be sniffing cocaine while doing a threesome, okay? You have these white girls who are sucking white dicks in the bathroom, and they're getting cum blasted all over their face. And there's so many people that were engaging in Eiffel Tower, in Devil's Triangle. They're becoming Eskimo brothers. So many of them, they don't even use protection. Once again, I want to make something clear. I was absolutely shocked because I have never, ever seen anything like this Okay, maybe it happens in the big cities in China, in Chongqing, in Shanghai, in Beijing, they're more progressive. Certainly in the little town where I was born, raised in, before the age of social media, I have never seen or heard anything like this. I was always told that marriage was eternal. I was always told that filial piety. I was always told that you're supposed to be saving yourself for marriage. I was told that humans are meant to be monogamous, one partner for life. And everything I saw, right? I was so shocked and so disgusted. I'm like, is this really the best country in the world? These are the people who took over and dominated the world. Or these are the British, the French, the Russians. This is what you guys are doing? Because that's what I saw every single day. Everything was about sex. Everything was about orgy. Everything was about sniffing cocaine and doing heroin. Every single place I went to, white people, you did this. You normalized it. I'm not saying that right now in China is there hookup culture. Probably maybe not as bad as compared to the UK or France or Canada or the United States. There are situationships, there are one night stands, there are regular hookups. It's because they keep worshiping white people. So I'm like, that is white culture. Yeah, and stop blaming other people. Say, oh, what about this? What about that? What about the blacks or the Hispanics? Oh, sure, they have these things as well. But where do you guys think they learned that from? They learned it from you guys. I was absolutely shocked and disgusted. And at the time, it was very normal. So many of these young women, I'm talking about 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, they were all, using Plan B, and some of them, they were getting abortion as a form of birth control. Once again, I don't think abortion should be illegal, but that's what these women were doing. All right, guys, so I switched to a different classroom. I was being viciously attacked by a fly. God damn, I don't know. There better not be a fly in this classroom. Maybe it was sent by Ben Shapiro. So, okay, that was white culture. Okay, you guys can deny it. You guys can try to play the victim card. You guys can try to deflect responsibility all you want. But I'm telling you, these schools, they hosted parties every Friday night. It was Stratford Central and then Stratford Northwestern and St. Michael's Catholic School. And it was about having orgies. So orgy, typically you're looking at 6 people minimum. You go masturbation, one-on-one, threesome, 2 couples swinging with a background extra, then orgy 6. I learned all of these from white people. That's what I saw every single weekend. By the way, you want to know something interesting? All of the Asian girls at the school, right? The school was, maybe 92% white. Not everybody. There were certainly Asian women around. The Chinese girls, the Korean girls, the Japanese, they never did any of this. They never sniffed any cocaine. They never sucked any dicks in the bathroom. And they never engaged in any threesome. They never did this Eiffel Tower thing. There was no Eskimo brothers that smashed these Asian women. At the end of their high school journey, they were still virgins. Why do you think why do you think so many of them they're becoming passport bros? They're going crazy for Asian women. They're simping for Asian women. They're worshiping for Asian women, and they refuse to marry or date white women. You completely destroyed your own woman. You your own civilization and your culture into a complete coma. And at this point, a bunch of white guys will be triggered. They'll say that, not all white guys are doing this. What you think, just because you're a white man, you get to sleep around with anybody that you want to? Yes, this point I do agree, because yes, even for white guys, there are a lot of incels. This is what happens when you allow female sexual promiscuity. And once again, it comes back to Planned Parenthood, it comes back to Innovid, it comes back to the pill, it comes back to ultimately Margaret Sanger and Catherine D. McCormick. And they'll quit it with this Jew Zionism, just complete propaganda garbage, okay? It was an Irish woman who started this. Maybe this was not her intention. I certainly hope not. But this has become a very, very evil, very, very demonic concept, because it's look at what it has done to all of these women. Why do you think so many of these white women were acting crazy all the time, right? 56.3% of liberal white women under the age of 30 in the United States, according to the American Family Survey, has been medically diagnosed with a mental health condition. Well, yeah, no shit. By the way, that's just middle school, high school. If you're talking about these Beckys, these Natashas, by the time they graduate from university at age of 22, okay? This is my most honest answer. If you want to ask me, what do I think is the average body count of a white woman graduating from university at the age of 22? I would say it's between 15 to 20 guys, okay? 15 to 20 guys. I mean, that is a very, very conservative estimate. Once again, that's the age of 22. Imagine the body count of these women when they're 26, 28, 30, 32, 34. Yeah, you wonder why these women are not happy anymore. You wonder why they're so depressed all the time. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, if you're a 22-year-old with 20 dicks inside of you already, and you're not going to be happy. And yeah, talking about, the just be white thing, a lot of white men are incels. This is what happens when you give this woman the ability, when you give them this female sexual liberation movement, all of the women are going to sleep with a very, very small percentage of men. And I did mention so many times, Asian and Indian men are considered to be the least attractive. Well, I would say, even, in modern day in 2025, maybe 30% of white men are considered to be desirable. For maybe Latino, Black, Arab, maybe 20%. For Asian and Indian, maybe you have a 10% chance. The other 90% is completely hopeless for you. So even, by a white man's standards, probably, 2/3, upwards of 70% of white men are all incels now because of this. Because, when you let women smash anybody that they want to, imagine if you had the ability to choose, right? Because, remember, women control the sex, right? Men control the commitment, the relationship, the marriage, and the family. What if it was flipped the other way around? If you're just a regular dude, you can smash any woman that you want to. Okay, would you smash option A, Madison Beer, or option B, Hillary Clinton? Okay, I'll give you another example. Option A, would you smash Tate McRae, or option B, Whoopi Goldberg? So, I mean, if you choose Hillary Clinton or Whoopi Goldberg, I mean, well, listen, you got problems, okay? That is not your man. You might seriously want to actually go to one of these therapists, because I think you do need help. You need therapy. There's something seriously wrong with you. But yeah, exactly. These women, they can smash any guy they want to. A regular chick can get a really, really hot guy. They can get Matthew McConaughey. They can get Tom Hemsworth. They can get Michael B. Jordan. They can get Tom Cruise. They can get Adam Driver. So of course they're going to choose all of those guys. Why would they choose some plumber or mechanic or the guy working the cash register at a 7-Eleven? So yeah, this is what happens when you allow a female sexual liberation. All of the women are going to want a very small percentage of men. A great example, right? Who just recently got married for the second time? Jeff Bezos. That's how the world works, right? Jeff Bezos, one of the most successful, influential, one of the richest men on earth, right? So look at his wife, Lauren Sanchez. Lauren Sanchez, she used to work at 7-Eleven. Yes, you can look this up. So, if you're talking about social and economic status, Lauren Sanchez is like somewhere down here, yet she can get Jeff Bezos, who's all the way up here. Women will only marry, procreate, and have sex with men who are significantly better than them, period. So yeah, this is what happened. This is why way back in the day, a normal dude, even below average, a guy who's 3 or 4 can get a traditional woman. Because that was before the female sexual liberation movement. And look at what happened. Who really ultimately benefits from all of this? Okay. Certainly, women don't benefit from this. Look at women. Women are not happy anymore. They're absolutely miserable. This is terrible. Look at what you're doing to yourselves, man. And the vast majority of men, they're absolutely miserable as well. Ultimately, right, the only group of people that benefits from this is maybe 10% of men. Maybe even less. Maybe only the top 7%, the top 5%, or the top 3%. And everybody else suffers. Nothing good has come out of this. Nothing good has come out of the female sexual liberation movement. And once again, take some own accountability, okay? White people started this. It was made possible because of Planned Parenthood. It was made possible because of Innovid. It was made possible because of Margaret Sanger. And nowadays, a lot of Black people, a lot of Hispanics, a lot of Asians, they have copy and pasted this concept. And that's why, the nuclear family concept is 100% gone. And I'll stay on the topic of, white culture for a bit longer. And yes, I made something clear. I don't believe in Judeo-Christian values. Just Christian values. I don't think these two religions are actually compatible. And also, if you're someone who is living in Canada, a lot of you guys maybe follow that network, Rebel News. Who do you guys think founded Rebel News? If you're so against, once again, Judeo-Christian values, or you call this Zionism movement. So, Rebel News was founded by Ezra Levant. Yes, Levant, that's his last name. So, yes, Rebel News is the Canadian version of APAC. I guess you can call this CPAC with a C. Yeah, it is the extension of the Israel Zionist lobby. Look at what Tommy Robinson is doing right now. That guy absolutely loves Israel. I'm just telling you guys. And here's the thing, okay? I'm not willing to get into any further debate with this. I've talked to this to people in the past, okay? Every time I bring up this topic, it's always white people. They send me death threats, okay? They threaten to kill me, like kill me dead. Well, yes, that's what killing me means. If you guys want to reverse the current trend, right? You guys want to actually turn your culture around. I'm telling you guys, yeah, you got to start with, finding God and going to church. And you have to stop with this insane hookup culture. You have completely destroyed your woman. That's why so many white men are going after Asian women. So, when I say this, Judaism, I say Jewish, it's a religion. And when I say things like, okay, people say, oh, it was all the Jews. And you notice something. It's always the white people who are bringing this up. It's never a black or brown or Asian person. Well, I mean, there's Candace Owens, but listen, Candace Owens, she does not like black people. That's why she married a super rich white man. And Candace Owens is always like Jews and Jews. But she never, ever dared to bring up this one topic. She says, Ben Shapiro or Andrew Klavan, two of her former coworkers. Well, Ben Shapiro was her former boss. She says that Ben Shapiro is ethnically Jewish. And I brought this up. I said, okay, I disagree. First of all, if it is a race, not a religion, how can there be black Jewish? Yeah, look up a former black Miss Israel, Itish Titi Ainu. Yeah, so if it is a race, okay, does Ben Shapiro look like he comes from East Africa? Okay, a lot of you guys might not know, but in Israel, I think there's something like 150, possibly 175,000 black people there. So the light-skinned, if you don't think they're white, okay, the light-skinned Israelis, they certainly don't like the dark-skinned colored folks. But the black Jewish population has always been around, okay, and so here's where things can reach a little bit of absurdity, okay. Ivanka Trump, Jared Kushner, that couple, okay. I'm talking about there's like Spanish, Mediterranean, Italian white. Some of those white people are like a little bit dark-skinned, almost they can pass as Arab-looking, okay? There's those kind of dark-skinned, tanned white people, and then there's Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. I'm talking about, Joseph Goebbels would put them on a Nazi propaganda poster for the Third Reich white, okay? And Kushner, where do you guys think that last name comes from? Kushner is Belarusian, okay? A lot of people who are saying Jews and Jews and Jews. I said, okay, it's not a race, it's a religion. They call me every single vicious derogatory name possible. I have got so many death threats, and it's very interesting. I tell them all of this, okay, if you don't agree with me, all of this can be ended, the entire debate, by taking a DNA test. It's like, Candace Owens, she keeps saying that, the first lady of France, Brigitte, or I guess they call it Brigitte, the French R is like pronounced like air, so it's like Brigitte Macron. So Brigitte Macron. So she's saying that Brigitte is it's a dude, it's a transgender dude that she transitioned after giving birth to her kids, and obviously she's got a lot of death threats from the French. They've been trying to cancel her, and she got banned from Australia and New Zealand as well for I guess defamation, promoting hate speech, and all this kind of stuff. It's very easy. There's one very simple solution. So. For someone like Brigitte Macron, right, take a blood test. So, right, two possibilities. XX chromosome, you're a woman. XY chromosome, you're a dude. That's it. It's very simple, right? So, a lot of these white people who are absolutely hating me, I tell them, okay, so the two countries with the highest Jewish population, United States and Israel, right? Take a DNA test because it will tell you exactly where you come from. The white people, they keep complaining. They say, oh, these Jews, these so-called. Those are religious Jews. They all come from Eastern Europe. Where do you think last names like Stein? Okay, here, you guys remember Felix Steiner, okay? Remember, Felix Steiner was a devout Nazi, right? He was one who was supposed to save Hitler. His counterattack was supposed to free Hitler's army from, the Red Army. And that's how they were going to escape the Battle of Berlin. But, that attack never happened. So, yeah, Stein, that is a German last name, okay? Yiddish, that originated in Germany. And also, what about Goldberg, Warburg? Berg also comes from Germany. What about like Hollowitz or Paul Wolfowitz? Witz also comes from Germany. Okay, what is BB's real name? Okay, you guys know his real last name? His name is a converted name. His father's name is Benzion Milikowski. A lot of people with the last name Ski are Jewish as well. So this is where things get very absurd. Someone like Emily Ratajkowski, okay? A lot of people say, oh, look, white women are so beautiful. I've questioned this before, okay? So, but Ratajkowski, I mean, she's Jewish. Technically, that's what she's listed at. So is she a white woman? What about Irina Zarutska? Carlos Brown Jr. says, I got that white girl. And all these white people are complaining. They said this is a hate crime from the blacks towards whites. Her religion has never been revealed. What if she's an Orthodox Jew? Is she a white woman anymore? And a lot of people say, oh, look, especially white people, they tell me, we got to bring back, anti-woke shows without a DEI. We need beautiful white people in mainstream media, like the TV show Friends. Okay. And see, this is where things get very absurd. And I've questioned the white people about this. I said, what about Lisa Kudrow? Once again, Kushner Kudrow. Okay, that's a Belarusian last name. She's Belarusian, but her religion, she's an Orthodox Jew. So it's Lisa Kudrow, a white woman, and they get so freaking mad. They say, oh, you stupid Chinaman, you silverhead, I'll kill you, you stupid bitch. And I tell them, okay, what about David Schwimmer? Because, I mean, he identifies as a white man, but his religion is Jewish. Is he a white man? Okay, see, and then I asked them, okay, what do you think about Jennifer Aniston? Is Jennifer Aniston white? Is Matt LeBlanc a white man? Is Matthew Perry a white man? So what about Donald Trump? Is he white or is he a person of color? Is he a Jew? See, this is where things get extremely absurd. And a lot of white people, they just this is their Incelcopium. That's what I call it. They use this as cope. They don't want to take any responsibility. They want to blame this on everybody else. Okay, take a DNA test. Do I think there's true Semitic blood? Yes. However, you have to remember, Jesus was a Jew born in Bethlehem and he walked on water. Jesus was dark brown skinned. He was very, very hairy. So Jesus was obviously a person of color. If you truly believe in Semitic blood, Moses was also dark skinned, right? If you truly believe there's true Semitic blood, then, okay, the true Jewish people by blood, they will look like someone like Bassem Youssef. Okay, they will look like Egyptian or Palestinian or Jordanian or Lebanese or Syrian or Iraqi. They would not look like Jared Kushner or Ivanka Trump or Lisa Kudrow. And every time I bring this up, I'm willing to have a debate. They threaten to kill me, and it's always white people. It always results in these insanely pejorative and ad hominem attacks. And it's death threats every single time. Just look at, okay, if you believe Jewish is a race, you know who else believes that Jewish is a race? Adolf Hitler, Hermann Göring. First of all, Hermann Göring, right? So there's another person, J.P. Pritzker. Look up J.P. Pritzker. He looks more like Hermann Göring than Hermann Göring himself. And you say, Jews are not white. Oh, well, Hermann Göring is clearly a white man. Who believed the Jewish was a race? Joseph Goebbels, Albert Speer. In fact, every single Nazi officer, every single member of the SS, every single member of the Wehrmacht, every single member of the Luftwaffe, they saw Jewish as a race. But the white people who are against Jewish, they say that, they're the problem. But they say, what if you ask the pale-skinned person who's of Jewish faith, if you said the Holocaust was actually a white genocide, not a Jewish genocide? Obviously, yes, they would disagree, okay? But like I said, all of this can be solved very simply by taking a DNA test, okay? If Jared Kushner took a DNA test, it will show that he's Belarusian. Maybe he's 95% Belarusian and 2% Ukrainian and 3% Russian, but it will show that he's white, okay? I'm just saying it's very, very easy to solve this. And the people who keep coming at me with these pejorative and ad hominem attacks, it's because, I'm telling you, it's because if you choose to lie, once again, coming back to that quote at the start of the video, if you search for truth, you might just be able to find it. However, if you choose to seek comfort, you will only find soft soap and wishful thinking at the start. And in the end, you will find neither truth or comfort. There's going to be nothing. It's going to be a complete void. And all you will end up with is your own fleeting imaginations because you have absolutely nothing here. And that your mind is filled with absolute hatred. Because when you tell the truth, you're just at ease. That's it. You just feel like, I'm letting go of everything. I've reached a state of Zen. This is my state of nirvana. I've seen past everything. I'm finally at peace with myself. When you choose to constantly lie, you're going to be angry all the time. So I would actually love to see that. How about we have every Israeli citizen and also every American, of if you think it's a Jewish faith or it's a Jewish race, I'll take a DNA test. I would love to see where they're from. Okay, if it does show that they have of a Middle Eastern origin, if they come from the Levant, okay, I will not acknowledge I'm wrong. But if all of these people, if Lisa Kudrow took a DNA test, and if Jared Kushner took a DNA test, it shows that they're actually Belarusian. Okay, that means that it's a faith. They're Eastern Europeans, aka white people. Okay, it means that they read the Torah. It means that they go to the synagogue. It means that they observe the Sabbath. Okay, it's just like I said, how can it be a race if there's Black Jewish? As a matter of fact, you guys know that there's also Chinese Jewish. Okay, how can there be Chinese Jewish? Okay, if you're saying that Jewish is a race, and I bet you guys didn't know that. I know more about religion than all of you guys. Okay, how come? Why is that? It's because society has become so secular. Okay, the first Christian to arrive in China happened in the Tang Dynasty. Was someone named Aleppo. You can look this up. He met with Emperor Taizong, and Christianity was initially allowed in China. So once again, 657, 7th century, a lot of Chinese people actually practiced Christianity at the time. It was not being openly prosecuted. And of course, I know I say that it's not a Judeo-Christian value. I don't think that is a true term. I think that is a marketing scam in 2025. But back then, it was still Judeo-Christian value. So when Christianity arrived, Judaism also arrived. You had to remember this is before the Great Schism that happened. So actually, there's a city in China, the Kaifeng. So the Kaifeng Jews were the original Chinese Jews. No longer exist anymore. There was also some Chinese Jews in Shanghai, and there was also some Chinese Jews up north near Harbin. In fact, if you go to Harbin, there's a memorial for a former Jewish school there. So if you're wondering what happened to those Chinese Jews, I don't think they exist anymore today. Most of them ended up converting to Islam. Okay. By the way, when I say Chinese, I don't mean Uyghur. So they actually look just like me, ethnic Han Chinese, and they converted to Islam and they became the Hui Muslims. Not all of them, but a lot of them did, because at some point China began to just brutally reject the practice of Christianity. And if you're wondering, a lot of Chinese immigrants living in America or UK who are Christians while they're from Hong Kong. In mainland China, it's not so popular. So you have to remember there was China's century of humiliation that happened. Okay. So after China's century of humiliation towards the end, there was the Boxer Rebellion. That's when China basically went to war against the Western imperialism, against the Western Christians. And that's why Christianity became so unpopular. And that's why at the end of the day, Chinese Jews who believed in Judeo-Christian values, that's why they ended up converting to Islam, interestingly enough. And if you're wondering why it's called the Boxer Rebellion, it's because the organization was actually called the Society of Righteous and Harmonious Fists. So yes, that's why it was called the Boxer Rebellion. Once again, I'm okay with having a debate, okay? But every time I bring this up, these white people, right? If I say Ivanka Trump, okay, if you think Ivanka Trump is not a white woman, then you are so far gone. You're so full of diarrhea that both of your eyes are brown. I cannot help you. I'm willing to have an open discussion and debate, but they always come at me with pejorative and ad hominem attacks. They always threaten to kill me. Just look at the guy, David Duke, the former Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, right? So and the same with Thomas Robb, right? They post videos on the internet. What do they always talk about? They keep talking about, white women sucking on black dicks, all these race traitors, all these white whores, we got rid of black men. It's like, they never ever talk about, okay, what about, there are cases where a white man is dating or marrying a black woman like Candace Owens and George Farmer. They never talk about it when it's the other way around. And they never talk about, right now, currently, there are 750,000 white men that is currently dating or married to an Asian woman in the United States alone. They never talk about that. They say, we got to stop race mixing. We got to stop these breeding between whites and blacks, especially these white women, these hosts, these 304s. But they never talk about it in the cases where it's a white man mixing with a black woman, or Asian woman, or Hispanic woman, or Indian woman, like JD and Usha Vance. They never talk about those cases. And look at David Duke's videos, right? All he talks about is like Jews and Jews and Jews and Jews. White people, okay, even if, take out Judaism aside, okay? White people who do not believe in Judaism, right? You guys have never done anything bad throughout history. I have never, ever seen that guy David Duke take 1 ounce of accountability, saying that, as white population, we really, really messed up, right? We were the most powerful civilization on Earth. We took over the entire world, but we're in a free fall right now because, white culture is just a complete woke trash now. Everything is about, white women sleeping with black men. Everything is about, it's Zionism. And also, just to add on to that point, once again, right, if you do believe that, okay, So you believe that these pale-skinned Jews, they're a separate race than you. How come, okay, these white people who keep saying that, oh, actually, we accomplished everything. We took over the world. We're the smartest on earth. We're the most powerful civilization. We're the most advanced. We dominate the academia. We dominate everything. Okay, so it's very interesting, right? In those cases, they count those so-called, non-whites, right? Those white Jewish, they count them as white. Albert Einstein, remember Stein, okay? So Albert Einstein is Jewish. Is he a white man? And when these white people, they say, actually, we invented everything. Actually, well, according to your analogy, I'm sorry to tell you guys, it was the Eastern European Jews. It was the Ashkenazi Jews, right? White people, you barely accomplished. You didn't do anything, right? If you do believe Jewish is a separate race, then it was the Jews that accomplished everything. Yeah, just look at the current academic system. Who's dominating some of the best schools right now in America, okay? It's not even Asians or Indians, certainly not Black or Hispanic. It's the Jewish students. They're the ones who are dominating Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Brown, Cornell, U Pennsylvania, Stanford, right? If you do believe that Jewish is a separate race, then it's not white people who are dominating academia. They're not winning the Nobel Peace Prize. They're not the ones who are inventing everything, okay? The smartest scientists worldwide, almost all of them Jewish, according to your ideology. If you want to ask me, do I think there's Zionism? Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, you need to unfollow Ben Shapiro immediately. Okay, that guy he's mad sketchy, man. Something is seriously not right with him. And I mean, so I will just tell you guys this right here. Daily Wire is going down. Give it another year, 2 years, maybe 3 maximum. Okay, Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles. I don't know what the hell you guys are doing. That's why I refuse to follow you guys or listen to you guys. Get the hell out of the Daily Wire, man. So Ben Shapiro's downfall was promised to him 3,000 years ago, okay? Once again, I made that very clear at the start of this video. I don't believe in Judeo-Christian values. It's okay, if you want to believe in Judaism, and if you want to believe in Christianity, it's totally fine. I don't think they're compatible. Yes, I definitely do believe there's Zionism, and I did mention Rebel News. That's basically CPAC. That's the extension of the Zionist Israel lobby. Well, you guys might not believe me, but actually do some research. So, other than that, okay, Israel, China has made it very clear. That's why I refuse to comment too much on this, okay? First of all, yeah, America, they should sever all ties with Israel. They should not be allies with Israel. They should not be supporting weapons and ammunition or any kind of cash payment towards Israel. They can do whatever they want to. Do I think they have the right to defend themselves? Yes, but at this point, I mean, Israel is fighting a 7-front war. Okay, if you're fighting with one neighbor, maybe your neighbor is the problem. If you're fighting with 2 neighbors, maybe it's possible, both neighbors are problems. But if you're on a 7-front war, I mean, so yeah, it's time for America to abolish AIPAC. And China has made it very clear. And they said that what's happening in the Middle East, this is a genocide against the Palestinians. It must be a 2-state solution. In fact, almost every single country on earth now recognizes the Palestinian state, with the exception of America. And you guys know which other countries that does not recognize the Palestinian state? So yeah, Fiji, I believe. I'm not even 100% sure, but you can look this up. Fiji, Vanuatu, is it called Vanuatu? Yeah, maybe Papua New Guinea, or there's another one. Yeah, what's it called? Micronesia? I think like Solomon Islands. I think you guys get the idea. We're talking about tiny island nations with like 50,000 people, sometimes less. Micronesia has what, like 3,000 people? I didn't even bother looking this up. Basically, you guys get the idea. These countries are so small. The Americans, they just buy these votes. Every single legitimate country on earth, with the exception of America, every single one has gone against Israel. So basically, America, you guys are the international pariah now. Look at what you guys are doing. And I didn't want to comment too much on this topic. Well, it's because when I was back in China for 6 months, man, that's why I said I no longer support Trump and the MAGA movement. By the way, okay, I don't think Trump is a horrible human being, but I just don't think he has delivered. His performance has not been up to par. I would never vote for someone like Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. And don't even get me started on George Bush or Barack Obama. Okay, I don't think Trump is evil, but he has not delivered up to par. Certainly not towards his capabilities. But all of this insane tariff wars against China, how anti-China he has been, all of this insane propaganda. When I was back in China, I had to block probably at least 300 people, right? You guys want to say, oh, like Jews are bad, but China has been been very, very clear that, they're 100% against what Israel's doing. I posted that video like last November, maybe December. It got like 6,500 views. I lost probably over 100 subscribers from that video because I said there was no homeless people in China. Now, okay, I visited like a dozen major cities in China and like a dozen small towns. I have not seen the vast majority of other Chinese cities. There are over 60,000 of them. The Chinese government, okay, they have their morals. They do care about their citizens. If you're someone who is down on your luck and you're really, really trying, you're struggling and you cannot land a job and you don't have enough to eat, you ended up homeless, you're on the street, okay, the Chinese government offers shelters for these homeless people. And, if you're really, really starving and they will feed you twice a day. Maybe it's prison food, maybe it's hospital food. It's certainly not a 5-star meal. They're not giving you Angus steaks or surf and turf, but they will make sure that you will have a bed to sleep on. They will make sure that you will not go to sleep at the end of the night being hungry, okay? Look at these inner cities in America. Look at San Francisco, look at Oakland, look at Flint, look at Cleveland, look at Detroit, look at Baltimore, look at Kensington, Philadelphia. I mean, the number of ghettos in America, the number of homeless population. Look at Los Angeles. And look at New York City. I mean, the size of rats, they're like this. The government doesn't give a shit about you anymore. All they care about is giving money to Israel and Ukraine. And so many people get so mad. Yeah, this is why America has fallen. Yeah, the government has stopped caring about you. And you guys cannot accept that there's a country out there that has more moral standings than you, that actually recognizes a Palestinian state, that actually cares about its citizens. And you guys are absolutely losing your mind. China is not the one who's promoting this 2S LGBTQ plus ideology. You guys are. China is not the one with 700 military bases worldwide trying to force this Western imperialism onto everybody else, right? In fact, China has one military base outside of China in Djibouti. That's it. The United States has 750. And you guys want to say that, oh, China is the problem. China was never the problem. As a matter of fact, okay, Russia was never the problem. That's what you're always being told, right? At first it was the Soviet Union, then was Russia, now it's China and Russia, okay? One nation under blackmail.